It's Friday, November 21st, 2025. I am not feeling well today. I have analysis paralysis. I'm not sure what to say, not sure what to upload, not sure how to upload. I guess I have higher anxiety than normal right now. I'm not sure what to say, but this is 288p also because it doesn't upload really quickly because this phone is an Obama phone. It is a free phone that's not good. It's not powerful, but it's pretty powerful because it does work. But it does work, and I can live stream, but it doesn't. The live stream was only 2 minutes and something seconds. Yesterday, something happened. I don't know, because I was talking for a long time. I mean, I don't know how long that was, but I think it was like 30 or 40 minutes, but it only ended up being 2 minutes. I don't know what happened. But I'm not feeling that well right now, but I'm just making this just because people do want to hear what I have to say. Probably, obviously, people want to watch my videos every single day, but I just haven't uploaded. But that's because I was in jail for 60 days. But no, yeah, people do want to listen to what I have to say probably every single day. Because when I subscribe to a channel, that means I'm seriously interested in the person's videos. I do pretty much watch every single video from that point forward, at least, and prior videos of other people when I subscribe. So I imagine people want to, watch this video, but listen to it because this is a weird video. But I'm just gonna say, I don't know. I'm just gonna say some things that are on my mind. The main thing is my health. Your health is number one. My health is messed up because I ate black beans. I've been eating kimchi again because I pretty much determined that cruciferous vegetables are bad for me, and nightshade vegetables and the red pepper that's in the kimchi is a nightshade, and so I think it mildly irritates my intestine. And cruciferous vegetables, I'm very sure, are damaging my eyes very slowly, because I can feel kind of like an itch in my eye, after and also my eyesight gets messed up temporarily when I eat cruciferous vegetables. Like I have a smearing of my eyesight. Of the light, like if I look up at the buildings right now, like all the lights, I've noticed this since over 10 years ago when it started. Like when I look at the text of those buildings, Wells Fargo, AECOM, City National Bank, there is like a totally duplicated text above and below now in 2025, but when it first started, it was just smeared a little tiny bit. But above Wells Fargo and below, there is additional text, as though there's multiple, lines of text that are half or less in brightness. And so that's what's happening when I look at text, at neon signs or whatever. My eyesight is messed up like that, but it temporarily does that at night. I've noticed when I look at on the air conditioning unit, the LED numbers like 68 degrees. When I look at the 68, it's smeared badly, and that's caused by cruciferous vegetables. I'm pretty sure. So, but that's just me. So, and I don't feel well right now because my intestine's inflamed, caused by the kimchi. There's multiple things: the red pepper and the cruciferous vegetables and all the beans. Beans, I pretty much determined that beans are not ideal. Also, like they do something that is negative to my mental health and my physical. Because it's hard to digest beans because they cause gas, and so I get bloated, and my intestine gets negatively affected, so that it causes me to feel depressed and anxious. So there's multiple foods that I'm sensitive to, right now, and so I'm not feeling that well. I feel depressed today and not feeling like going out, but I forced myself to because I need some type of exercise, go out for some type of walk, which is better than staying home all day long. It is impossible for me pretty much to stay home all day if I'm feeling 100% healthy. When I'm feeling 100% healthy, that's why, for example, when I went to San Clemente on those days, now when I've gone to Huntington Beach, with a Trump flag on and shadow boxing, that is when I'm feeling at my best, or pretty much at my best, and it's impossible if I have the money. I mean, if you don't have the money, you try to take the train, or the bus. I mean, a lot of buses don't do anything. They might say, "Oh, you have to pay," on the Orange County bus, but the Los Angeles, I mean, they're very lazy. Like, you can just ride for free, But if you didn't have any money, for the bus, and if you take the Metrolink, I've never done this before, but if you don't have any money, intentionally taking the train, because I'm just, I don't know. Be talking about that. That's that's ridiculous, huh? But if you didn't have any money, but because it doesn't cost that much money if you have EBT, and if you have a disabled, because if you buy, this is so weird when I'm talking about this, because if you buy a disabled ticket, they never make you show proof of disability. But I'm not saying that I've wrongfully, like illegally or whatever, bought a disabled ticket before. But I'm just saying that if you did that, then it wouldn't matter because they don't check if you're disabled or not. Furthermore, if you use EBT, it's 50% off. So it's like 50% off, and then it's 50% off again of that. So it's 75% off if you're disabled and have an EBT card. Whatever, these things are stupid. I don't know, it doesn't apply to a lot of people, but around here, probably most people are on EBT because it doesn't make sense at all, if you had any money at all, to choose to live in Los Angeles. This is such a crazy place where, I mean, it's so crazy because it's, California in general. I mean, who would want to live? What's going on here? What's going on? He's blocking the entire intersection right now. And something is happening right now. Who is that? Is that an actual LAPD? He says police on the back of his... That is so stupid. What happened right there? That is so insane. The guy blocked the entire intersection for no reason. Oh, now he's doing a U-turn around, crossing double yellow lines, and having his lights flashing. For what reason? What is happening right now? Seriously, what is happening right now? Why is that motorcycle police officer supposedly choosing to cross double yellow lines and now signaling, miraculously, actually using his left turn signal to communicate? Oh, and he cut off that driver seemingly, but I'm not sure. And something is happening right now. Okay, something important is happening right now in front of my face. And it was not actually a left turn signal. It was a hazard flashers. Or it was, it seems as though he's going to arrest someone right now or pull over someone right now. But at the same time, he's not eagerly trying to go anywhere. So that means it's not an emergency. I mean, what is happening right now? Which one of these vans is he going to pull over? And I'm assuming it's a he. It might be a she on this motorcycle, but most females never are motorcycle police officers. I have never seen a motorcycle female police officer in my life, I don't think. And that police officer is just going to cruise along with everyone else and act as though that something emergent was happening in this intersection. That is so insane what just happened. I mean, what is going on? The motorcycle police officer tried to act as though that van, I don't know, like that seems weird. Because he didn't announce like pull over, like nothing happened, I don't know. But here we are on the sidewalk, 100% public property, public forum, open public forum, not a limited public forum. And I don't know if people want to hear what I'm saying right now, if you're listening to this video. And I'm going to have to upload this video. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to upload, but it's 2:88 And, and there's another LAPD police officer right there. And there's, it's so weird. There's so much security around downtown LA. Why is that? Why is there a need for security and police? That's a video in and of itself. Why are there so many police and security needed around where I have happened to be? Is it because I am a person who is a threat to people, who tries to break laws? No, I have never intended to break the law in my life, other than speeding, because I have sped before, and I have rolled through a stop sign in my life, and the first time I ever did that, basically in a car, I was pulled over. And on that day in 2011, that's when I lost my pickup truck when I was driving, because I chose to drive it under a suspended license, but my license was suspended because I was honest on the application to renew my license. That my license was, that I passed out one time in my life, because it asks you, have you ever passed out in your life? I could have lied and said no. But I said one time I passed out, and I passed out because I was trying to eat the perfect diet, a whole plant foods, starch-based diet with no salt, but maybe no salt was caused me to pass out because I didn't eat salt for many months. And I was eating a whole plant foods perfect diet with no processed, cereal, like boxed cereal that has salt in it, or like potato, something that, chips or something that has salt, right? And I was exercising for 3 hours, doing jumping jacks and calisthenics, whatever, indoors when it was raining on that day, or the day, recently before that. And that's what depleted my sodium level. And that's why I passed out and slammed my head on the sink, I think, on the counter. And then, so I was honest that I did that one time, and so that's why my license was suspended. And I didn't think that it would be a misdemeanor crime for me to roll through a stop sign while driving under a suspended license. And, but no, I knew that I was driving under a suspended license, so I guess you could say that I intended, to do what I did. But I thought it would only be a ticket. I thought it would only be an infraction, like a ticket, like $175 or $300 or whatever at that time. But the other times, but I wasn't arrested. I wasn't even arrested for that. But my car was impounded. My truck was impounded. I couldn't drive it. I had to walk home. But I had to walk home. It took like 1 minute. Like I was right there. But all the other times that I've been arrested in my life, it was because something that I did not intend to do, to break the law. It's either I was defending myself against someone physically attacking me, and I was trying to arrest the person, or I was trying to, to just defend myself. Or it was me approaching a female, who I thought was attractive, and then, I spoke words, and then I was arrested because I spoke words, I have so talking about security and police. I mean, if people like me lived in a location, would you want to hire police because there's men talking to females or talking about females because they have, reproductive interest? But reproductive interest is normal and natural, and so you would expect that sometimes that if a female were to reject, or if a parent, and furthermore, talking to a parent about a female, so indirect, doing such a thing will land you in jail for 60 days. Recently, what happened tragically, this is so insane. This is not a society. You cannot get married in California because, you cannot approach females in California because you only want to approach pure virgin females because you shouldn't want to waste your time by approaching adult females because adult females are destroyed 100% by the time they turn 18 because females can get their own social media around age 13, and they ovulate around age 12. And so it's realistic, it's reasonable to assume that females will lose their virginity. They'll engage in reproductive activity very soon after that. So 18 is when a female is so old so that she doesn't even have to get married in California, but in a lot of states it's 16, that age when a female can engage in reproductive activity with anyone she wants who's over 16 or within 3 years of her age, typically in a lot of states, like a 15, 14, or 13-year-old without getting married, right? So it's when the female is deemed so old because it's not that serious anymore because so much time has passed so that the female is low in value, essentially because she has already engaged. So much time has passed, you have to assume that she has engaged in reproductive activity. It's not safe to assume she's still a pure virgin. So you don't even need a court's permission or a parent's permission to marry her, and she's so old now that it's deemed that she's mature enough to know well enough to vet whatever males, want to engage with her so she can choose on her own without you having to get the parents' and court's permission, as you can do, marry an adolescent or a child, someone under 18, a child of any age in California and Mississippi. So why would you want to wait until the quote-unquote age of consent, which is 15, 16, 17, or 18? Based on my research, there's 3 states where it's 15, where a 15-year-old person can engage with a person of any age older than that, or maybe younger than that if it's the person within 3 years of their age, typically, like in a lot of states. Or in that state, maybe if you're also married, then it could be, the person could be any age. Because in like 17 states because I've researched every single state, in 17 states, if you're married to a child of any age, suppose there is some type of at least one statute in those states where it says it's an exemption or exception if you're married, to the person who's younger than the quote unquote age of consent. But I'm not 100% sure that you can engage with a person of any age in those states because it's confusing because there might be an additional statute, an additional page, an additional crime that says, that it's the R word, if the female, if you engage, because it's very logical, it's very simple. It says, okay, if you engage in reproductive activity with a person who is, under the age of 12 or under the age of 13, then it's the R word, right? Or if you forcibly, engage in reproductive activity against the person's consent who is under 18 or any age, even if you're married, but it doesn't say even if you're married, it says any age, then that is the R word, right? But then there's a different page, a different statute that says like S-word assault in the 4th degree, and then so that means if the person is under the age of 18, then it's a crime that means it's S-word assault who's under 18. However, it says if you're married, then it's not. It says like it is an affirmative defense, or something like that. It's in a defense to this statute if you're married. So it's confusing. So it's like it's trying to say that it's not S-word assault if you engage with an under 18 or 17 or 16 person. But then there's this other statute for the R word that says, okay, like any time you engage in reproductive activity with someone under the age of 13 or 12, something like lower age like that, then it is the R word, so it's very confusing. And then in California, it's confusing. Actually, in Utah, it's not confusing, and in Alaska, it's not confusing and I think Montana, it's not confusing because it's very clear. In Utah, it's 100% clear because there's a separate statute that literally says all of these S-word crimes are not a crime if you have the consent of the person. So in Utah, if you're married, is one of the states where it's not a crime to engage in reproductive activity with a wife with a person of any age. If you're married to that person, and you can get married at any age in California and Mississippi if you have a court's permission and one parent's permission in California and two parents' permission in Mississippi. Because this is very serious because this is the main thing in life. Once you become reproductively activated biologically, which is around age 12 for females and 14 for boys, then you will be in a state of stress and you need to engage in reproductive activity. But you need to go through a process of getting to know the person extremely well because it's way more fulfilling. It's obvious to me at my age, but if you're too young, you might not know this. You haven't learned this, but when you engage with someone casually, okay, yeah, that's fun when you first do that, when you're a virgin, right? You just want to do that. But then you'll learn that that's not fulfilling, that what you want to do is get to know someone extremely well and cooperate with the person, because you don't just want to engage in reproductive activity with a person. What's better than that is getting to know the person extremely well so that you can actually engage in reproductive activity and actually reproduce. Because you want to go through with that with a person with whom you're extremely harmonizing, like you're extremely harmonious with. And that's what you want. But if you're inexperienced and you don't know much, you're just focusing on the S word, you're just focusing on that. And so that's what you're just focusing on because you're inexperienced. But when you get experienced, then you want to get to know the person extremely well before you engage. And then, a lot of people typically traditionally get married, get legally married, and they have vows. They state vows to each other that they're going to commit to each other for life. If a man commits monogamously to a female, that's unnatural, and that doesn't make sense at all. Because females only ovulate 1 day or 3 days or 5 days per 28 days cycle, so they only want to engage in S-word activity. They only want to do that such a small window of time, right, when they have an ovum cell ready to be fertilized. But they do not have they might not have desire to engage, and it doesn't make sense to engage in a reproductive act, a reproductive act with a female who doesn't even have an ovum cell that's positioned for fertilization, the other days of the month, right? But there's other females who could who could move toward you because they're motivated to do that and throw themselves at you. Actually, literally, they will run toward you to engage. And it's up to you to engage, but but females will engage. If you're high value enough, if you're there, if they perceive their high value, then you probably will want to engage with them. If you can attract multiple females, that's what I'm talking about. That's because men are polygamous by the very nature of their biological inheritance, and so yeah. But females are monogamous, but they're hypergamous, but they're happy being monogamous with an alpha male, with a polygamous, an alpha, high value male, and they will jump ship though to a higher value. If they perceive a male as higher in value, then they'll dump you, they'll cheat or whatever. They'll jump to because they don't have loyalty naturally. They don't have loyalty, but men have loyalty, insane loyalty. Men have pride about, like being loyal. I mean, I do at least. I mean, I have insane loyalty if I want. See, if I decide I'm going to be loyal, then I will. But if I'm not, then I don't. From the get-go, like before, because I have engaged casually with females, but that was a long time ago. But it was all casual the whole time. It was all casual the whole time from the get-go, right? But if I decide that I'm going to be loyal to a female, then I'm loyal for life. If I decide to commit to a female for life, that doesn't mean monogamously necessarily, but I'm just saying one female, among others. But if I decide that I'm going to be loyal, then I am, I mean, and I think that's what's normal, for men. But females will jump easily because they're hypergamous. They have to find the highest value male possible, even if they're already with a high quality man. So they will jump to another one very quickly because they don't have loyalty. You have to assume that females don't have loyalty. They just do not. You have to assume that. Okay, this video is too long. I don't know if this is gonna even work. If it does, then okay, fine. But if it doesn't, if it takes too long to upload this, then I'm gonna cancel it. LTBLP.